guys! So today I'm doing a little bit of a different video. So I'm normally doing videos that are like more beauty orientated and fashion and stuff, but I've been getting a few requests actually to do a video around the topic of periods. This is a video directed to all of us girls out there. So I'm going to be talking about a few different topics like what to do when you get your first period, all about pads and tampons and everything. Just to let you know, I'm a very open person about this kind of stuff. I'm definitely not shy. So that is why I'm doing this video, because I know a lot of girls are too shy to like ask their mum or their friends about periods. So that's why I'm here to just explain everything for you. So yeah, if you are interested in watching this kind of video, just keep watching. So I've got all my little notes on a little notebook, kind of cute. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to talk to you about is more about your first period and how to prepare for it and how to expect it. Like, what are you going to expect? So I know a lot of girls ask, when will I get my period? And it really varies for everyone. I personally got mine at 12. People get theirs at 8. People get theirs at 16. Like, it's really varies between everyone. And yeah, so you can't really say, okay, I turned 13, I'm going to get my period now. Like, it's totally variable for the person. Most of the time, before you get your period, you have other puberty actions. So you can have your boobs get bigger, hair in places and stuff. Once you start changing, you want to start preparing for your period. How do we prepare for our period? So one thing I really recommend if you haven't got your period yet and you are waiting on it coming is to carry around your period emergency bag. Really cool. So I put together a little period emergency bag. You can put it in a little toiletries bag like I have here. You can put it in a pencil case and like disguise it. You can put it in a plastic bag. You can put it in any kind of little bag that you can. This is just a little bag. I don't know where it's from. I've had this bag for ages. But yeah, you want to carry around things that when you get your first period, you're going to be prepared for your beautiful leap into womanhood. That's what we're going to call this. It's your leap into womanhood. A few things you should be keeping are obviously some pads. I recommend pads, not tampons, because when you first get your period, you're not going to be wanting to stick a tampon up your body. So pads, that's important for when you get your first period. I'd also recommend bringing a plastic bag for any icky bloody underwear. Yeah, that'll just keep it contained in your school bag. I recommend to carry this bag kind of everywhere you go. You can keep one like in your locker at school. That's what I did, and I still do have a little bag of sanitary pads and stuff in my locker. You can put it in your school bag, in your handbag, whatever. You'll also want to bring a spare pair of underwear because yeah, your first pair that you've been wearing all day are probably going to be a bit dirty, so bring a spare pair, really comfy ones. These are like my comfiest underwear. Also, you'll want to bring some tissues or toilet paper, just in case you're somewhere that you can't really get to the best bathroom, and you're going to want like tissues and stuff so that you can clean yourself up. You can use, there's things you can get that are like sanitary wipes, and they're specifically designed for down there, and they are like moistened, so it's even easier. But yeah, any tissues or wipes. They are the basic things to keep in your emergency period bag. You can obviously keep whatever else you want. I really recommend your period emergency bag to carry around at all times before you get your period. Also, when you have your period, it's always a good thing to carry around a few tampons, just in case. As for what to expect for your first period, I don't really know if you can really predict, oh my gosh, I feel this sensation in my body, my period must be here. When it comes, you can just be like, woohoo, I'm a full-grown woman now. I can be a brilliant doctor now. My next topic is pads or tampons. Which one do I choose? So this really comes down to personal preference. What I recommend is when you first get your period to go with pads because they're easier to use, I guess more comfortable and more obvious to you. What I mean by that is you can actually see the pad rather than having a tampon. Sometimes you can forget it's in there, and that's not good. Personally, I prefer tampons because they're just kind of easier just to chuck in, and they're smaller to carry around. Definitely when you're first starting out, use pads because it's just nicer to slowly grow into getting the tampon. Now on to the different types of pads and tampons. If you've ever been to a supermarket, you have obviously seen the massive aisle of the millions of brands and types of pads and tampons. Sometimes it's so hard to choose. I'm going to show you the things that I use, and keep in mind that I live in Australia, so obviously they're going to be different brands if you live in America. So as for pads, I don't use pads, so I barely have any, but these ones, I'm not sure what brand they are. Open it and find out. I think these are Libra. Pads come in like a range of absorbency. You can get like the super pads and then like the really thin ones. Yeah, any pads really can do, any brands. They come in a range of prices. And so with pads, there's two main kinds. There's winged pads and non-winged pads. This pad in particular is a non-winged pad. So pretty much, this is really awkward, I'm showing a pad on the internet, but pretty much it's just the pad and with no bits that come off the side. And I should have gotten a winged pad. I think this is a winged pad. So this pad is actually a nighttime pad, but this is the only one I could find in my house with wings. So as you can see, it has the regular bit, and then it has these things coming off the side which are called the wings. And pretty much what the wings do is you stick the pad on your underwear, and then the wings hook around onto the bottom of your underwear, and they have little sticky bits. Pretty much what they do is they just help to hold your pad on better. So you have your winged pads and your non-winged pads. And then as tampons go, tampons pretty much just come in sizes. You have like regular, super. They're all kind of called different things in different brands, but you have your regular ones, which are like the normal size, and you have the super ones, which are for more heavy flows, and then you've got the little tiny baby ones, which are probably, when you're first starting out with tampons, I'd recommend the little ones because it's easier to get used to how they feel and stuff. So you're probably wondering, what do I do at nighttime? Well, I have the answer. Pretty much there's things called nighttime pads, and they're pretty much just pads that are longer and thicker so that you can wear them all through the night. I would not recommend wearing tampons during the night. I know some people do, but I wouldn't recommend it because you're meant to change your tampon every like 4 to 6 hours because it can lead, if you have it in for too long, it can lead to toxic shock syndrome, which is really rare. Don't worry about it. But yeah, I would really recommend to wear pads at night time. Pretty much there's things called nighttime pads, and they're pretty much just pads that are longer and thicker so that you can wear them all through the night. I would not recommend wearing tampons during the night. I know some people do, but I wouldn't recommend it because you're meant to change your tampon every like 4 to 6 hours because it can lead, if you have it in for too long, it can lead to toxic shock syndrome, which is really rare. Don't worry about it. But yeah, I would really recommend to wear pads at night time. This is a nighttime pad. As you can see, it's much longer than a normal pad and it's thicker than a normal pad. So yeah, nighttime pads are what you wear at night. Another question that lots of people ask is, when should I change my sanitary pads and tampons? As I mentioned before, tampons should be about every 4 to 6 hours and pads should be the same. Pads, it's less important to change it, but obviously you're going to want to change it because it's going to get icky and full and smelly. But tampons, you really need to change. 6 hours is probably the most because it can be dangerous for you to leave a tampon in for too long. So yeah, it's about every 4 to 6 hours you should change your sanitary pad or tampon. There is a few other options other than pads and tampons. People use cloth pads, which are pretty much pads, but they're made of fabric and they're reusable. They're much better for the environment, but I don't like using them. There's also things like menstrual cups and menstrual sponges. I don't really know much about them. You can Google them if you want. They're just kind of different options on how to control your period. Let's move on to the next subject, which is the sad one, which is pain. Unfortunately, with period comes pain. Not everyone gets period pain. Most girls will get small amount of period pain at some point in their life. Really hard to describe period pain or menstrual cramps or PMS or whatever you want to call it. I just call it period pain because it's a really hard pain to describe. It's pretty much down low in your stomach and it's just like a dull, crampy ache in your stomach and it's really painful, but thankfully there are a few ways that you can help it be a bit less agonizing. First way is obvious, it's pain medicine. Second thing I would recommend is heat packs, and the third thing that helps is ice cream in between periods. Okay, it's not that fun. There are actually about 4 to 5 days that you're actually bleeding, but the rest of the time, stuff is still happening in there. Your eggs and fallopian tubes are still working, and eggs are moving, and uterus is moving, and yeah, everything is still happening even when you're not physically bleeding. What does happen in between the times that you're actually bleeding is discharge. Most girls, from the time they start having puberty, will notice really gross stuff on their underwear, and they'll be like, what is this stuff on my underwear? What it is it's discharge. The way that you can control your discharge is by things called panty liners. So panty liners pretty much look like little teeny weeny pads. I'll just open this one for you. They're much thinner than pads and much littler. These pretty much just catch all the discharge. Last thing you want to be doing in between your period is tracking your period. I really recommend this. Let's just say today I got my period. I would go to my calendar and like put like a little star or a little tick on the day that I got my period, so it's not like I got my periods. It's kind of discreet. Write a little note on your calendar and then count 28 days later, put another little mark there so that you have a general idea of when your next period is going to come. Last topic is my first period and my experience. So yeah, this is more of a personal thing. If you don't want to know the stuff about me, you can stop watching the video here, but I will tell you about my first period. My period happened a day after my 12th birthday, and I was at Luna Park at my birthday party, and we were about to leave, and we were like, oh, let's go to the bathroom. So I was going to the bathroom, blah, 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 and I looked at, oh my gosh, I have my period. What do I do? What I did is I cleaned myself up. I didn't actually have my emergency period kit on me, which was stupid of me, but I pretty much cleaned myself up with toilet paper, and I took some toilet paper and folded it and put it on my underwear as a makeshift pad. And then we got home and she pulled me aside. She was like, here's everything, go do this. And so yeah, pretty much I had a pretty easy experience. It wasn't at school, which I was dreading it coming at school, but if it does come at school, it's okay. It's okay. You just have to make sure you have your emergency period kit. And yeah, then I pretty much hung out with my friends, and I don't even think they noticed until this video. Now you guys know. Yeah, I had my first period that night. So that is the end of this video. It was quite different to my normal ones, but if you liked it, give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment below if you want me to do a video about the other parts of puberty, like your boobs and your hair and your body and stuff. If you want me to do a video on other parts of puberty, let me know. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'll be putting out quite a few videos in the next few weeks because it's school holidays. And yes, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!